In the last lecture, we have developed a general approach to solve a waveguide problem and found that four, four field equations Ex, Ey, Hx and Hy. Now we'll use this result and try to investigate a problem of a rectangular waveguide. The shape of waveguide is rectangular. So this is a rectangular waveguide. We consider the waveguide is made up of a ideal conductors. So the boundaries of this waveguide are made up of ideal conductor, and the dielectric field inside this waveguide is ideal dielectric. So the waveguide walls or the pipe is an ideal conductor, and medium inside pipe, ideal dielectric. So here we have ideal dielectric, and these walls or these pipes are made up of ideal conductors. Consider the rectangular coordinate system, because we know the first step by geometry one has to select the proper coordinate system. So let us consider by convention, this is x-axis, this is y-axis, and this is z-axis. A rectangular waveguide has two dimensions, width A and height B. Generally, A is greater than or equal to B. So we'll see about this design constraint, why A has to be greater than or equal to B. So the waveguide has x dimension, which is along the width or the A dimension, broader dimension of waveguide, and y is along the height or narrower dimension of the waveguide, that is B. Now to solve this problem, because we know that for any bounded structure TEM mode cannot exist. When we use Ez and Hz0, that is TEM mode, all four field components will vanish as to 0. So that is not going to survive inside any waveguide. Since it is a rectangular waveguide, so obviously there is no possibility of TEM mode. So there may be TM or TE mode. So first we will go for TM TM mode. So what is TM mode? You remember from our first lecture, TM mode is transverse magnetic mode, where Ez is not equal to 0 but Hz is 0. So you have to find out solution for Ez. So transverse magnetic mode, where Hz is 0 but Ez is not equal to 0. This mode is called as transverse magnetic mode. Why transverse magnetic? Because longitudinal component of magnetic field is 0, but it has transverse component present. Its transverse component is present, hence the name TMO. Sometimes this mode is also called as E mode, because the field in the direction of electric field in the longitudinal direction is non-zero. Okay, to solve this, we have selected appropriate coordinate system. Now we have to obtain solution for longitudinal field component Ez. So to do that, and once we obtain the solution for Ez, we'll use it in general equations which we have derived in the last class. So we'll get Ex, Ey, Hx and Hy for this rectangular waveguide. So to do that, let us consider a wave equation in Cartesian coordinate system. So wave equation in Cartesian coordinate system for Ez, for electric field. So that is del square Ez plus omega square mu epsilon Ez. So this is the wave equation for Ez in Cartesian coordinate system, in which omega is the angular frequency, mu is permeability, and epsilon is permittivity of the medium which is filled by inside the particular transmission line or waveguide. Actually, this equation is a scalar equation. Now we'll expand del in Cartesian coordinate system. So expanding del square in Cartesian coordinate system, del square Ez by del x square Ez by del y square by del z square, x, y and z plus omega square mu epsilon Ez equal to 0. Let me call this equation 2. Now this equation can be solved by separation of variables. So let Ez is function of x, y, z as well as time. So the solution will be by product of function of each variable. Ez be a product of function of each variable x, y and z. So this Ez can be written as x of x into y of y into z of z. Now we have to substitute for Ez in equation 2, which is this solution. So we'll get a solution for this equation. Before that, we'll consider some constants in such a way that we have the wave in three directions, x, y, and z. So the wave in the direction z will be a traveling wave, forward traveling wave. In the negative z direction, that is a backward traveling wave. But purposely we are considering that our waveguide is infinitely long, so there is no possibility of reflections, no possibility of backward wave propagation. So it has only forward traveling wave, e raised to minus j beta z. Now, if we extend the boundary b, let us say to infinity. So what you have, basically you will have a vertical parallel plate waveguide, and the wave is reflecting with multiple internal reflections in between the two boundaries of this parallel plate waveguide. So that is actually a standing wave solution in the direction x. Similarly, if you extend a to infinity, so you have a horizontal parallel plate waveguide, and the wave will travel with multiple reflections between the adjacent walls. So that is again a standing wave solution in the direction y. So this has to be kept in mind while selecting the solution, or while writing the solution. We have a traveling wave in the direction z, we have a standing waves in the direction x and y. Now let us write the solution for a traveling wave in the direction z. So how do we proceed? We'll use this equation in equation 2. So Ez will be replaced by x, y, and z. So this will become, equation 2 will become y z d square x by dx square plus x z d square y by dy square plus x y d square z by dz square plus omega square mu epsilon x y z equal to 0. So what we have done, this can be solved by separation of variables. So this is way how Ez is product of x, y, and z, and they are the function of x is function of x only, y is the function of y only, and z is the function of z only. So if you do that, if you say x is a function of x only, so your partial derivatives will get converted into full derivatives. So we get this equation by using equation 3 in equation 2. So remember, x is a function of x only, y is a function of y only, and z is a function of z only. Now let us divide this equation by x, y, z. So we have 1 by x d square x by dx square, 1 by y d square y dy square, 1 by z d square z dz square plus omega square mu epsilon. Let us call this as some equation A. Now, what we have discussed just before some time, these terms, this term, this term, and this term, these three terms should be constant quantities, and these constant quantities should satisfy by every value of x, y, and z. So therefore, these three terms must be some constants. So we'll equate these terms to some constant. One by x d square x by dx square. It's some constant, let us say minus a square. 1 by y, some constant minus b square, and 1 by z, d square z by dz square. It's some constant minus beta square. Minus sign chosen appropriately so that the solution we are getting have the standing wave solution in the direction x and y, and we get a traveling wave solution in the direction z, where beta is phase constant of the mode of propagation. And why we are expecting to a standing wave solution in the direction x and y, that we have discussed just before some time. Now, these equations, if I take this x to the right hand side, so this will be d square x by dx square plus a square x equal to 0. Similarly, this can be modified. So these are actually a second order homogeneous equations whose solution can be written directly. Whose solutions can be written directly. X of x is equal to C1 cos AX plus C2 sin AX, phi of y, C3 cos BY plus C4 sin BY, z object, C5 e raised to minus j beta z plus C6 e raised to plus j beta z. So these are the solution for second order homogeneous equations. So these two equations are basically a standing waves, representing a standing waves. And this third equation is representing a traveling wave. C1, C2, C3, C4 and C5, C6 are actually some arbitrary constants. And cos and sine function shows amplitude variation, which is a standing wave kind of behavior. So cos and sine will be amplitude variation. Now for this traveling wave, this term is a forward traveling wave. Because this minus sign indicates the forward traveling wave, and this is a backward traveling wave. So from this, now for the simplicity, you assume that no wave is traveling in backward direction. No wave is traveling in negative z direction. Or in other words, we are saying that the transmission line is infinitely long. Then for no backward wave, C6 must be 0. This constant must be 0. Now you know the solution for Ez, which is a product of x of x, y of y, and z of z. So Ez will be equal to. So we have to use this solution and write down for Ez. So it will be C5 into C1 cos AX plus C2 sin AX, C3 cos BY plus C4 sin BY into e raised to minus j beta z. C6 is 0. So what is this? This is a general solution for Ez component of a wave. What we have done, we have taken a rectangular waveguide, select a coordinate system x, y, z, traveling wave in the direction z and standing waves in the direction y, started with a wave equation, then expanded this del, and using separation of variables we have written a solution for this Ez, and now using this for Ez we have used this into equation 2 and rewrite that equation 2, and later we have consider these are actually second order homogeneous equations whose solution can be written like this, and finally we have arrived to the general solution of Ez. Now this is important point of our derivation, because this is a general solution we cannot use it directly into our solution of Ex, Ey, Hx and Hy directly. We should get the exact solution for Ez. We should get the exact solution for Ez in the TM mode analysis. So to do that, we have to apply boundary conditions. We have to apply a boundary conditions. So you remember that we have a boundary condition for tangential component of the electric field, and by applying a boundary conditions we'll get the arbitrary constants and we have an exact solution for Ez. So how do we apply boundary conditions? Because we have the boundaries which is actually at the conductor dielectric interface. So for conductor dielectric interface we have a boundary for tangential component of electric field. So Ez is actually a tangential to 4 walls of the waveguides. So this is first wall, second, third and fourth wall. So Ez component, which is actually in this direction, is tangential to 4 walls of the waveguides. This wall, this wall, this one and this one. So Ez is the tangential component, and we have a boundary condition for tangential component of electric field at the conductor dielectric interface. So that is what tangential component equal to 0 at the boundary. So what are the boundary conditions? Let us consider this is origin of your coordinate system. So this is x equal to 0 as well as y equal to 0. If we move here, at this point we have x equal to a, and at this point we have y equal to b. So these are actually 4 boundary conditions which we are going to apply to this waveguide. So we have boundary conditions: x equal to 0, y equal to 0, x equal to a, and y equal to b. So these are the boundary conditions which we are going to apply. Now tangential component of electric field should be 0 at the conducting boundary. So the tangential component is Ez. So Ez has to be 0 at x equal to 0, y equal to 0, x equal to a, and y equal to b. So this should be 0 at all these boundaries. So this is what the boundary condition we are applying. Now the first set of boundary conditions for x equal to 0. To satisfy the boundary condition, boundary condition is Ez equal to 0. Look at this equation. The general solution what you have obtained. This should be 0 when x is 0. When this will become 0? Your x is having value 0. So sine 0 will be 0, and in this case cos 0 will be 1. So this will become non-zero. So at x equal to 0, to satisfy Ez equal to 0, what is your solution? The solution will be C1 constant must be 0. Then this equation will become 0. So at x equal to 0, to satisfy Ez equal to 0, the constant C1 must be 0. For y equal to 0. For y equal to 0. To satisfy Ez equal to 0. Now again look at this equation. At y equal to 0. To satisfy this equation, Ez has equal to 0. What is the solution? If you put y equal to 0, sine 0 will be 0. So there is nothing related to C4. But if you put y equal to 0, this cos 0 will become 1. Then your C3 has to be, or C3 must be 0. Then only Ez will be 0. So at x equal to, for x equal to 0, to satisfy the boundary condition, you have C1 must be 0. For y equal to 0, to satisfy your boundary condition, C3 must be 0. So general solution which satisfy the boundary condition for x equal to 0 and y equal to 0 will be rewritten and become, so all constants will be clubbed together, C5, C2 and C4. Because this is 0 and this is also 0, so it will be sine ax, sine by, e raised to minus j beta. So now club all these constants together and let call them as some constant c. It is c sine ax, sine by, e raised to minus j beta. In above equation, now apply the remaining two boundary conditions. Okay. The boundary condition for x equal to a. To satisfy the boundary condition, which is Ez equal to 0, what is the solution? See this equation now. When this equation will be 0, let us say for x equal to a, when this equation will be 0, sine AA. So this AA should be what? That means what should be the value of AA at that time? This sine will become 0, this function will become 0, and if this will become 0, then your Ez will become 0. So you know that sine will have its value 0 at multiples of pi. So this AA must be some multiples of pi. Multiples of pi. So let us say that some multiple will be m pi, some integer multiple of pi. So whenever you say, let us say if m equal to 1, so sin pi will be 0. If m equal to 2, sin 2 pi will be 0, and so on. For y equal to b, to satisfy Ez equal to 0, what is the solution? Y is b, so your b should be again multiples of pi, because this is a sine function, will be 0 at the multiples of pi. So bb will be some multiple of n pi, some integer multiple of pi, where n is 1, 2 and so on, pi, 2 pi, 3 pi and so on, it will be 0. So what is the constant? Because you said that for satisfying these boundary conditions, you said that a should be multiple of m pi. Therefore, the constant a will be equal to m pi by a. And for other boundary condition y equal to b, bb should be multiple of pi. This time the constant b is equal to n pi by b. So this is what you have obtained. So now with these boundary conditions and solutions, rewrite your Ez. Rewrite this equation Ez. So Ez will be equal to c sine ax, c sine, and a is m pi by a. So m pi by a, and this is x. So m pi x by a, and again sine b is n pi y by b, n pi y by b e raised to minus j beta. Look at this equation. So this is what we have obtained. A complete solution of the wave equation for longitudinal component Ez. So this is a complete solution, and you can see this C is the amplitude of the electric field, which will remain constant since boundary conditions are independent of the amplitude. So this is exact solution or complete solution of the wave equation for longitudinal component of Ez. Now just we'll try to understand the most important aspect of wave propagation in a rectangular waveguide. What do you mean by these indices m and n? Okay. Let us say we are discussing TM mode, and these are the mode indices m and n. So m is the index along broader dimension A, and n is the index along narrower dimension B. So what it indicates? Basically, m indicates the field variation along broader dimension of a waveguide, and n indicates the field variation along narrower dimension of the waveguide. So to understand it in further details, let us consider you have m equal to 1. You have m equal to 1 and x equal to 0. At m equal to 1, and x equal to 0. What will be the constant this m pi x by a? So m equal to 1 and x equal to 0, so this will become 0. At m equal to 1 and x equal to a, at m equal to 1 and x equal to a, this will be pi. Okay, so if you have a rectangular waveguide and you said that x equal to 0 and x equal to a, and you said m is 1, so you have essentially this kind of a structure, and you said that at x equal to 0 and at x equal to a, so the two boundaries along the x dimension, your m equal to 1 indicates what? Field variation. It varies from 0 to pi, so that is essentially a half field variation like this. Now take one more case. In next you have, let us say, m equal to 2. At x equal to 0, again it will be, this term will become 0. Again m equal to 2, x equal to a, at this boundary you will get 2 pi. This term will be 2 pi. So what does it mean? You have two half field variations along broader dimension. Means like this. Okay, so what exactly m indicates? It indicates number of half field variations along broader dimension. If m equal to 1, there is one half field variation. If m equal to 2, there will be two half field variations along broader dimension of your waveguide. Similarly, if you have n, this index n, so for n equal to 1, y equal to 0, the term n pi y by b will be 0. At n equal to 1 and y equal to b, this will be pi. Okay, so you have essentially a half field variation along narrower dimension if n equal to 1. If n equal to 1. Similarly, if n equal to 2 and you vary from y equal to 0 to y equal to b, again you have two half field variations. So that is the meaning of m and n. So m is number of half field variations along broader dimension and n indicates number of half field variations along narrower dimension. So if someone is writing a mode something like this, TM11, means m equal to 1 and n equal to 1, so that mode is called as TM11 mode, and that indicates it has one half field variation along broader dimension and one half field variation along narrower dimension. So m and n represents number of half cycles of the magnitude of field in the transverse direction, maybe x or y. Now let us consider what is the lowest possible mode in a rectangular waveguide, lowest possible TM mode in a rectangular waveguide. You have this exact solution, complete solution. Now let us put m equal to 1, sorry, m equal to 0 and n equal to 0. That means TM00 mode. Let us put m equal to 0 and n equal to 0, that is TM00 mode. If you put m equal to 0 and n equal to 0, what will be this Ez? Ez will become 0. And Hz you already 0 for Tm. If your Ez is 0, then Ex, Ey, Hx and Hy will become 0. So there is no possibility of wave propagation. So will this mode exist in a rectangular waveguide? No. So this mode does not exist. Second possibility, either of them is 0. Let us say m is 0 and n is non-zero, or that I can say TM0n mode, or m is non-zero and n is 0, that means TM M0 mode. Either of m or n is non-zero and other will be 0. So what will happen? Again, if anyone either of m or n will be 0, then Ez will be 0. So this is also not possible. Fields will not survive if any of these index will be 0. So these modes are also does not exist on a rectangular waveguide. So what is the lowest possible TM mode? So the lowest possible TM mode, you have m has to be 1 and n has to be 1. So the lowest possible mode, TM mode in a rectangular waveguide is TM11. M can be 1 and n should be 1. So that is what the lowest order possible mode, lowest order possible mode or TM mode which can exist on the waveguide is TM11. Okay, so to conclude this lecture, let us do the final step, which is nothing but writing the four field equations Ex, Ey, Hx and Hy, and by using the result of complete solution C sin S, this is our Ez, what we have obtained. And what is the general solution from our last lecture for Ex, Ey, Hx and Hy? So Ex is this thing, minus j omega mu upon h square del hz by del y. Hz is already 0 for Tm. So this part we have to write minus j beta upon h square del Ez by del x. So this will be minus j beta upon h square del Ez by del x. So minus j beta upon h square. Now differentiate this equation Ez with respect to x. With respect to x. So how do you differentiate this? X. So minus j beta upon h square, it will be m pi by a c sine differentiation cos m pi x by a sine n pi y by b e raised to minus j beta. So m pi by a constant c, sine will become cos and m pi x by a. So this is what we have written for Ex. Similarly, Ey. Ey is minus j beta upon h square del Ez by del y. So differentiation of Ez with respect to y. So minus j beta upon h square del Ez by del y. So that is minus j beta upon h square n pi by b c sine m pi x by a cos n pi y by b e raised to minus j beta. E raised to minus j beta. Now hx. Now this term, this second term will be 0 because hz is 0. J omega epsilon upon h square del Ez by del y. So j omega epsilon upon h square del Ez by del y. So it is quite easy to write down now, minus j beta upon h square n pi by b, sorry, minus j omega epsilon, please correct this, j omega epsilon h square, and this is plus. Okay, this is plus. So j omega epsilon upon h square n pi by b c sine m pi x by a cos n pi y by b e raised to minus j. And the last thing, which is hy. So hy is this time minus j omega epsilon by h square del Ez by del x. minus j omega epsilon upon h square del Ez by del x. So this will be minus j omega epsilon h square m pi by a c cos, because this time differentiation with respect to x, m pi x by a sin n pi y by b e raised to minus j beta. So that is what we have obtained final four equations of TM mode. Okay, so this is TM mode analysis of a rectangular waveguide. In next lecture, we'll do TE mode analysis of a rectangular waveguide. Thank you.